Guys, welcome to the race summary of the Festi Di Imola, a race where only the new Porsche 9XA 2024 and the Lamborghini SC63 hypercar were available. We celebrate that together with the Imola release, and guys, let's head into qualifying. Qualifying was a 15-minute session in boiling hot conditions, 53 degrees track temperature, and this is the penultimate lap for us as we are heading down Pepper Prey over the start-finish straight, getting ready for the first corner combination. Sun was out, sunglasses were needed as we hardly could see the apex going into the first chicane. Maximum power on the sprint towards the Villeneuve chicane, late on the brakes, rotating the car tight around the left-hander and then swing it around, maximum usage of the curb on this Peugeot. Up the hill towards turn 7, the time quite tight.
Favorite type of cars, Ferrari.
Towards our best lap time so far. It was a difficult session as you really had to go quicker and quicker lap by lap, increasing the risk you can take as the tires were heating up, gaining more and more temperature, almost a bit too wide. Here on the exit of Acqua Minerale into the penultimate chicane, well, it's actually the final chicane. We're going down into the third sector, purple on ourselves, as we were leading, going into Rivazza 1, slightly, ever so slightly understeering on Rivazza 1, giving away a vital 10th, taking it somewhat easy then on the exit of Rivazza 2. So we were about to improve, and with just 11 seconds to go, we started our very final lap in this qualifying session. As ahead of us was Jane Simoncic trying to improve himself as we went through the chicane, and then drama, track limits deleted this lap time, and then on top of that we were beaten by Henry Gumbel for pole position in the race.
A bad thing.
And with getting our car on the grid, this is all we had to do in order to get our names into the draw pool for winning 2 tickets to the FIA WEC round at Imola in 2025. And whether we've won, you guys can find out on our social media pages. Click the link tree in the top right corner and follow us on the socials. The scene was set for the most competitive Le Mans Ultimate race ever. 38 single car class race, 100 minutes of hypercars, and only 2 Lambos in the race, as 36 Peugeots and the Lambos got the green flag. Perfect start for us here, with a better acceleration, better reaction time than Henry Gumbel, immediately jumping ourselves into the lead before the first braking zone. In the back though, Wojciech Polezny, who started in P5, accelerated the Lambo into P3, being the only Lambo in the top 10 as we got the green flag. First lap, obviously, all cold materials. Cold brakes, cold tires, no core tire temperature whatsoever. So it was a dance on raw eggshells as we accelerated up towards turn 7 for the very first time. Obviously, with Henry Gumbel winning the qualification by quite a margin of a tenth and a half maybe, we knew that he will be putting us on the pressure straight away. And as you can see, we could not start creating a gap straight away. Into the chicane we go, hard over these curbs, really need to maximize track limits as much as we could do. Arguably, whether they were legal or not, that is a different story. But before we dive deeper into the race, as we finish the first lap going into Rivazza 1 and Rivazza 2, let's have another look from the exterior, from the outside of that starting situation, as the cameras of LMU are quite nice for this. Green flag we got, the field ran away, and you see the only Lambo in the top 10 right there in the middle of the track. Actually, it's 4 Lambos in the race, not just 2, so pardon me on that one. But as you can see, it was only 1 Lambo that was on the charge at the very front. We just took the lead, and Henry Gumbel tried to come back at us for the Villeneuve chicane. And then sadly in the background you see that is the car of streamer Marbix TV, Marco Bischoff there with early trouble spinning out on the Villeneuve chicane. Sadly losing a very, very good 4th spot, and I think he also ran into the barrier that caused ultimate damage to the car, so he had to look for pit road to come in for repairs. Back in the race then, lap 2 has been passed and we are already down into lap 6, I believe, or lap 7 even. We have started to move a little bit forwards as Jani Simoncic, who had dropped down to 4th position in the meanwhile, got himself past Jules Neal in now 3rd position, and as you can see the gap 1.7 seconds to me and Henrik. It was clear that he would start gaining the time on us. Jani, who ultimately had an amazing race pace already shown in the free practice sessions prior to this race. But yeah, as you can see, 12 minutes into the race, we were under high pressure, still maximizing track limits as much as we could as we go down to Rivazza. Exterior shots of the race, as you see the cars massively over that 2nd curb, all 4 wheels off the white line. But as I said, in those races sometimes it's all about really maximizing the track, maximizing the track limits and bending the rules as much as the game allows. Back in the race, lap 14 is on, and as you can see, Jani Simoncic has closed the gap to Henrik Gumbel, now being right on the rear wing of Henrik, going down into Aqua Minerale. And as you can see, the car ahead, Henrik, goes a little deep through Aqua Minerale, jumps onto the curb, bottoms out, loses the momentum, and that allowed Jani Simoncic the pass for 2nd place. And that has set the scene for the remainder of the first stint. Here you can already see the gap between Jani and Henrik. So Jani was coming down, chasing us big time. Lap 33, it was time for our pit stop. We have made a good saving job of roughly 2 laps longer than a flat out driven Peugeot. As we dive for pit road, Jani went by. So Jani here with the big advantage, going 1 lap longer than us. And yeah, also when coming into the pit road we had to do precise parking, yet the car was moved up, and at that point I already knew that it was going to be a little bit of trouble here for us. How did we get into that position? It's Eric, because I'm doing this for pretty easy, because
19 years now.
It is us having done a couple of minor mistakes in the final stages of the stint, as I was struggling to understand whether the race is going to be a certain amount of laps or even 1 lap longer. However, the issue was that we had to overcome these issues and just focus on our pace. As we went off the pit spots, you have seen a nice feature with the Le Mans Ultimate cars being tilted around when their pit exit or their parking spot is blocked on release, as we've seen the Lambo being turned towards the fast lane as we made ourselves back out on the race. It was not only us that has pitted, it was also Henrik Gumbel, who did an amazing job fuel saving, going for 33 laps in total, which wasn't that easy in the first place, but of course Jani has completely killed it with going even 34 laps. And then 1 lap later, obviously he came for his pit stop.
He's still stationary seemingly.
And we wondered if he would be taking tires, because as you saw, we did not change the tires. And indeed, he took the tires, as we not only passed him while he was still being deep in pit road, we also created a gap of 14 seconds between us and his release. Just one lap later, Jane Simoncic already on the move with 13.5 seconds of gap. He dived Jules Neal into third position with brand new medium tires that gave him already the pace advantage. Just about 10 laps later, the gaps between Henrik and me got to 4 seconds, but it was Jane already on the rear wing of Henrik Gumbel, and for me that meant a little bit of drama, because I knew every lap that Henrik could hold on to Jane would be maximizing my chances of winning that race. We have led this race for 46 minus 1 laps, and it was the first occasion though, as we see here on the Delta timer, Jane Simoncic on the main straight passing Henrik Gumbel for second position in lap 46 with roughly 35 minutes to go. And it was clear that just 7 or 8 laps later, with 18 minutes to go, we were under so much pressure. Used mediums that had run for over an hour and 20 minutes already, tight into the chicane, just about staying in front, trying to break the slipstream here on the main straight in order to not allow for that pass as good as possible. But you were seeing on the braking zones into the turns, we were struggling for rotation, we were struggling for balance, micromanagement, micro mistakes, correcting moves every now and then. Villeneuve chicane, so much more advantage, so much more momentum for Jane here as he tried to go round the outside through the hairpin into turn 6. It was pure madness. Going lap 54, Jane as close as he has ever been on the exit on Rivazza 2. I have been on the power, I've been on the magic button as much as possible, but I knew this was going to be tight. So here, no slipstream braking, straight defensive towards turn 1 on the inside lane, heavy on the brakes, turning in, but there we lost the rear straight away, had to open up the steering to prevent the spin, and that allowed Jane the pass. Where grip, we were asking, and I'll take you through that battle once again from the astonishing exterior cams. Jane has so much more performance, so much more grip on this new medium tire, almost making moves here around the hairpin as we speak, and it was a clear strategy mistake that we did. It was a full thinking about whether to take tires, not to take tires. We've done an 80-minute race earlier this week, sadly in much more colder temperatures. There, changing tires was an absolute no-no, because it would have taken you 8, 9, maybe 10 laps to get them into the perfect working conditions. Not so here in this race, where the boiling 30-degree air temperature and 50-degree track temperature made the mediums pick up the temperature quick and getting them up to work. So in the end, it was the absolute right call by Jane. As we see, my final mistake that gave up the lead once again from the exterior cam. And that literally sums it up. That was the story of the race, the climax where everything changed. 15 minutes later, Jane had created a 13-second gap. And, well, I think in the end we can be happy with second place still, because you see Henrik also closed the gap once again, also not changing the tires, being on the same strategy with us. But it was a phenomenal race after all. It was an absolute nail-biter, and also in the car it was very, very stressful in order to be 100 minutes on the very edge. Now obviously you could always argue whether the balance of performance was good, the balance of performance, as we had so many Peugeots here in the race and just a handful of Lambos. But at the end of the day, as I said, it was the most intense and the most competitive top split race ever here, because this time the 38 drivers really signed up for the top split, and usually it's 38 top drivers also signing up, but you know, 10 of them in LMPs, 20 of them in hypercars, and 15 of them in the GTEs. This time it was a only single car class made race, and that meant obviously huge competition throughout the entire race. I also want to give kudos to Henrik. He is obviously one of the veteran ACC drivers, as Marbix is. He has shown absolutely no fear. He's done 2 or 3 small mistakes eventually that cost him the track position towards Yene. But you have to give hats off to them, because fuel saving is something the guys on ACC are not used to, and they've done this very, very well. So, with a couple of more external camera shots, I would like to thank you so much for watching this. I would like to thank you also for being in the live streams, and if you've appreciated this type of video, please let me know. Any feedback, constructive, good or bad, likes or dislikes, let me know down in the comments area below, because this is a new field for me and also means a lot of learning across along the way. But before we completely head off and end this video, we have a final look into the results. So second place, actually where we started, Yane with a 17% gain on a DR. We're already maxed out on SR, 3.4% on DR. After all, it was a successful race. I enjoyed it. It was intense. I hope you enjoyed it. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching.